Thanks for joining us. Just give us some insights into what information you have available and some of your key observations around this case.
Thank you so much. Let me firstly greet your listeners and also correct my name. I am Professor Dumisani Mabunda. Have you captured that correctly?
We do apologize for that, Professor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, if you can repeat your question, because you are breaking up. I don't know if it's a network issue from my side or from your side, but if you can repeat the question so that I can respond appropriately.
Well, I hope you can hear me now, Professor. Would you give us an update on your observations on the issues surrounding this massacre of 18 individuals in Lusikisiki?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Obviously, I want to send my condolences to the family members that are traumatized by this incident. This is something that I won't repeat because yesterday I was watching the press conference where the police minister and the commissioner of the police, together with other role players, commented on this. The seriousness of that issue concerns every individual. So what I want to comment about is the way the South African police are handling crime scenes. I suppose there is some work that needs to be done when it comes to crime scenes, whether it's one person that has been killed or a number of people. As a criminalistic, we used to use the word that a crime scene should be handled like a shrine, a holy place, where not everyone is allowed. But you look at most crime scenes where people who are not authorized to enter the scene, they end up going there because sometimes some want to appear on TV, some want to use their authority, therefore bullying the crime scene officers that are busy combing the scene. So I'm hopeful that this scene is not one of the scenes that will be sensational for now, and then when we have to go to court and then the suspects that are arrested are released because of compromised evidence.
Professor Mabunda, just to talk about the handling of crime scenes. Now, are you speaking in relation to past crime scenes when you talk about mishandling of the scenes, or do you speak specifically to this crime scene in Lusikisiki?
I'm speaking specifically to this. I don't want to generalize, but what I'm trying to emphasize is that each and every scene, whether it's one person that has been killed or a number of people, the approach of the crime scene, the guidelines and the policies are the same. So crimes must be treated with diligence. I don't know if you can see the example of the book that I have with me here, which talks about crime scene management.
Yes.
This book outlines all the processes that need to be followed. If crime scene officers follow these guidelines, there's no way in which a case will go to court and eventually the evidence that was collected at that crime scene will be compromised. So I can give you a typical example of the soccer player that was murdered some years ago, where we hear that
Senzo Mayua? Would it be Senzo Mayua?
Yes, I'm talking about that, where I won't comment much because the case is still sub judice, but we hear because it is televised, and then we can already see that there's a possibility that suspects may eventually be let off the hook.
Now, Professor, how does the involvement of national and provincial experts enhance the effectiveness of this investigation? Because right from the president all the way through to the police's top brass, there has been indication that no stone is left unturned in ensuring that the best minds and the best assistance is given to the police officers in Lusikisiki.
This talks to capacitating local crime scene investigators. When you hear the National Commissioner or ministers talking about people flying from Pretoria to a place far off, it speaks to the fact that there is a police station there, but there are no crime scene experts. So we're talking about the issue of capacitating all the provinces, localizing all this expertise, not all of them, but most of them. I'm talking from experience because I spent so many years at criminal record centers in Gauteng, various local criminal record centers. And I received my training both locally and internationally. And I know how to handle the crime scene. But when I look at some of the experts testifying, it talks to the issue of training. How well are they trained? But I can understand because the police are always having their budgets cut. So training experts takes time and money. That's why you have limited capacity in provinces, especially in rural areas. That's why by the time the experts from Pretoria arrive at the scene, some family members have either walked about in the crime scene or taken some exhibits and placed them in wrong places. So it already compromises the evidence that will eventually be presented in court.
Now, Professor Mabunda, in your experience, how important is community cooperation in solving cases involving mass shootings? Because it's been almost a week since the shooting, and the police have one person of interest that they are speaking to at the moment.
It is a good question, Hugo. The community policing forum issue has been a buzzword since 1994. But the implementation part of these community policing forum strategies, it's compromised because communities don't necessarily trust the police. Communities in Lusikisiki, I can tell you, they know who the perpetrators are. And sometimes they are afraid to give this information to the police or appear publicly because they know that they will be eliminated. And coupled with this is the law of this country. It gives, this is my perspective, it gives perpetrators more rights than victims. If a signal can be sent out to perpetrators of violence, that they will be dealt with harshly. I think it will be sending shivers down their spines.
Now, Professor, you've talked about fear by members of this community as potentially one of the reasons that they may not be forthcoming with information. Now, what we also know is that this family that was massacred in that devastating killing had gathered in order to conduct a ceremony over the death of one of their family members from a year ago in a case that has not been solved yet by the police. So how much of the people's not coming forth with information is really about, well, how effective are the police? Is it partially due to that?
Yeah, I can agree with that notion, that I do not want to be dead by tomorrow. I can go and give the police information about who the perpetrators of this heinous crime is, but it's the same police who will tell these perpetrators because they have rights. They may appear in court within this week, and then the next week, because of their rights in the Constitution, they will be out in the same community, terrorizing the same community. So you look at whistleblowers in general in South Africa, they are being eliminated because people have got some interests to protect. So by the time the case goes to court, there are no witnesses, and the judicial officer will dismiss the case.
And finally, just your thoughts on the role that technology plays in modern forensic investigations, and is SAPS equipped to do this?
Another good question. Let me start by saying when I was at the Criminal Record Center for over 15 years before I joined Unisa, I had an opportunity because Criminal Record Center was sort of an elite unit. So we were given opportunities. I was trained in Los Angeles, Pasadena, on a course called photogrammetry. With that course alone, if the police would invest in that and train police, they will not leave the scene, especially mass murders, until everything has been done. I also attended other courses like crime scene officers in Sussex FBI in the UK, where crime scene management is in my blood, but unfortunately I've left the police right now, and I'm not the only one. I have other colleagues who have gone to join other policing agencies around the world. My comment is that if the police would invest in good investigators, especially the crime scene managers, because that is where the case is won or lost. If you do something wrong at the crime scene, I can tell you the defense is going to punch holes on all your evidence that you're presenting in court. So the police must invest in training these specialist units in the SAPS.
Professor Dumisani Mabunda, Lusikisiki mass shooting and crime scene investigation there, giving us his thoughts on what work the police needs to do in the preservation of the crime scene to ensure enhancement or the easy capture of those criminals. Appreciate your time.